It is a pity that Mr. Zuma has decided not to appear before the Commission today, in defiance of the summons issued by the Commission and in defiance of the order of the Constitutional Court, our highest court in the land. It would be a pity if anybody did it, but that this was done by a former president of the Republic, someone who twice stood before the nation and took an oath that he would uphold the Constitution of the Republic and protect it. It's a great pity. First, he walked out of the Commission proceedings on the 19th of November. Second, despite having been served with a summons to appear before the Commission in the week beginning on the 18th of January 2021, he decided not to appear.
Well, Andizi, that's what former President Jacob Zuma said to the Zondo Commission. Jacob Zuma was expected to appear before the Commission today. Good evening, I'm Aldrin Simpier, and this is Unfiltered. The Commission will take the matter back to the Constitutional Court to have the former President arrested. Now, what's the former President's next move? Let's welcome our guest this evening, Dr. Kathy Powell, an Associate Professor in the Public Law at University of Cape Town. We also have Bafana Mahlabe, who is the spokesperson of the MKMVA Ekurhuleni region. Political analyst Ongama Mtimka is also joining us for this conversation, and a bit later on we will be joined by Edward Zuma, the son of former President Jacob Zuma. Tonight we're asking you as well, do you think that it's possible that the possible arrest of former President Jacob Zuma can lead to instability in South Africa? Do you think that the possible arrest of the former president could lead to instability in the country? You can join the conversation on our social media platforms using the hashtag SABC Unfiltered. Let me welcome my guests. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. About an hour ago, and let's start with you, Dr. Powell. About an hour ago, a statement has been released by the former president in which he says, "Now that it seems that my role in the commission has come to an end, I wait to face sentences to be issued by the Constitutional Court. Accordingly, I stand by my statement of February the 1st, 2021, and no amount of intimidation or blackmail will change my position, as I firmly believe that we should never allow for the establishment of a judiciary in which justice, fairness, and due process are discretionary and exclusively preserved for certain litigants and not others." What do you make of that statement?
Well, several things occurred to me. First of all, he seems to be saying, I'm happy to go to jail. In which case, I think the supporters who are surrounding Nkandla and making threatening noises about fighting to protect him should perhaps go home and allow the processes of the courts to take their place. Secondly, his claim that the courts are not upholding fairness and due process is, I'm trying to think of a polite word, because it's complete rubbish. And we've had a number of court cases that have made it clear why, and they explain why. They don't just say, look, we're being fair. They set out in detail why Jacob Zuma has not only been treated as well as other citizens by the Commission, but in fact a great deal better. He's had a whole lot of special treatment that the others did not get. The fact that Judge Zondo would not recuse himself when Jacob Zuma said he had to recuse himself, that's what normal citizens have to live with too, because the judge who is asked to recuse himself or herself goes through the test and decides whether it applies. In addition, even if that failure to recuse is taken on appeal, the proceedings of the Commission carry on. And that's something that has been confirmed by the Constitutional Court. Now, Jacob Zuma cannot claim to be upholding the Constitution or the courts if he is ignoring all those facts, and if he is claiming that he has a better he in fact has a right to make that decision over and above the decision of the Constitutional Court. It is the highest court in the land. It's not one person, it's a group of judges. They consider, they deliberate, they come up with a reasoned judgment, and they have come up with one, and he is bound by it.
Okay,
he has refused to comply with it, and that means, yes, that the due process means that he should now be arrested and imprisoned.
Okay, Bafana, your interpretation of what Dr. Powell has just said now, that this essentially means that you guys should pack up your bags and leave Nkandla. Bafana, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Sure, we can hear you. I'm saying, what do you make of the interpretation from Dr. Powell that the statement that has been released by the president, where he says that it now seems that my role in the commission has come to an end, I wait to face the sentence to be issued by the Constitutional Court. That essentially means that the MKMVA, who are stationed outside Nkandla, that they should pack their bags and leave, because the person that you sought to protect is saying that I'm willing to be arrested.
Well, I think the doctor here must consider all the facts that are available in this matter, because President Jacob Zuma did not arrive at this decision without having gone through certain processes, one of which will remember that he has a case that is pending of taking the matter on appeal in regards to the recusal of the judge in terms of the commission itself. So I think it will be rather disingenuous to say people must just take their things and pack and go without saying what are the issues that are at stake here. Yeah. One of which I believe that President Jacob Zuma has got rights like every other citizen. And we are talking about an issue where there is an unprecedented decision of the apex court here, where an individual is said to is instructed to appear before the commission, regardless of the fact that he has made an appeal in the upper court. Which I think, by the way, in terms of the law, we must all be equal before the law, meaning that he was supposed to be given a space that all these due processes must be followed. And let's hear what the other court says, because the commission can't be a referee and a player at the same time. There must be other people who can probably look at the matter and say what sort of objective decision could have been reached in this matter. However, it is clear that there is a concerted effort.
Sorry, Bafana, I need you to deal with the aspect where the former president says that I await to face the sentence to be issued by the Constitutional Court, because with whatever you have painted now, that is common cause, I think, which the former president also knows. But he still says that I wait to face the sentence to be issued by the Constitutional Court. And Dr. Powell is arguing that that then means that the MKMVA must pack their bags, apart from what you're arguing, which also the former president expresses in his statement. So will you be leaving?
Look, no, there's no MK that is going to leave. In fact, in the contrary, more of MK will be going to Nkandla to support the President Jacob Zuma in this matter, because there is a narrative around this matter. It's not a matter that is superficial. People must connect the dots here to say there has been a narrative and there are concerted efforts to make sure that he appears regardless of whatever situation. This commission cannot conclude its business until former President Jacob Zuma appears there, so that whatever objective that it must reach everybody, because he has taken a decision to say, as a citizen, I've got rights, and if my rights are trampled upon, I also have other options that I must look at. By the way, the issue of jail cannot be used as a deterrence towards him. He spent 10 years in Robben Island. That does not suffice to say it's a justification for him to defy the apex court. All we are saying is that, why is the apex court taking such an unprecedented decision where they are saying he must appear before the commission and he has no right to remain silent, whereas there are many people who are supposed to appear before the commission, but they were treated differently, and other people appeared, they exercised that right. There was no issue there. But with Jacob Zuma, there is this concerted effort that he must appear there, and that objective must be reached. And by the way, we know that this commission happens within a political charged environment.
I need you to quickly wrap up that point. I'm so sorry, Bafana. I need to go to Ongama as well. Ongama, just quickly, your sense of what you've just heard now from the MKMVA, as well as the statement that I just read. Unfortunately, we only have a minute for that response, and then we'll come back and delve into other issues.
What is happening in Ghana is a threat to democracy. It's a threat to national security. It's the rise of an illegal gathering of people. If they were gathering peacefully and not threatening to take action or to defend anybody, then that's fine. Everybody's allowed to do that. But if you go and you are a paramilitary group and you want to claim part of a territory of a country, that is a threat to national security, and it should be treated as such. There's no way that President Zuma doesn't have legal recourse for everything that he cries to have gone foul. What we're seeing here, Aldrin, if you look at the evidence from when President Zuma appeared before the commission and suddenly felt the heat on the nature of questions that were asked and took exception to them, is somebody who doesn't want to go to the commission. On one level, so if you read his latest letter, he sounds like he's aggrieved by the fact that now he's going to, the judge has decided to take this course, whereas it is in fact his own refusal to go there that has precipitated the crisis in the first place, that has compelled the Deputy Chief Justice to act in the manner that he is doing currently. By the way, he remains within the legal processes, and I think it should be commended, Eldrin, when there is a posturing of this nature for those who preside over judicial processes, to not apply themselves to political processes, to only apply themselves to matters of the law.
Okay.
And because what that does
we'll come back to that point, Ongama. Unfortunately, we have to go to a quick ad break. Let's go to that ad break, and remember that you can be part of the conversation using the hashtag SABC Unfiltered. We're asking you this evening, do you think that the possible arrest of the former president could lead to instability in the country?
Commission will make an application to the Constitutional Court, which is the court that made the order that Mr. Zuma has defied, and seek an order that Mr. Zuma is guilty of contempt of court, and if the Constitutional Court reaches that conclusion, then it is in its discretion what to do. One of the things it can do is to impose a term of imprisonment on Mr. Zuma. Another would be for it to impose a fine.
Okay, that was the chairperson of the State Capture Commission of Inquiry, Ongama. He was speaking there to a point that you raised a bit earlier on, but also the posture that's taken by the chairperson in that what they are seeking is imprisonment instead of a fine. Hi, Ongama, did you get that?
Yeah, I got it, Eldrin. So what I was saying is that it's always important when those who preside over judicial institutions to apply themselves only to matters of the law, and where they are being accused of playing in the political space when they are making decisions on the basis of facts that are before them, they make that without any regard for the accusations, because that asserts the preeminence of the rule of law over the political process. We have here a grouping and a president that want to have legal processes subjected to their political power dynamics. And I think that is blatantly wrong. We know the evidence, it's been out there. President Zuma has persistently refused to go and appear before the commission, citing, like, for example, the issue of conflict of interest. So the impartiality of the judge. He should have known that even when the Chief Justice presented that name to him, or even on the first day when he appeared before the commission. But he didn't raise that until the nature of questioning got too uncomfortable for him.
Okay, Dr. Powell. Okay, Dr. Powell said I should call her Kathy. Apologies for that. So here's the point, though, that the former president makes in his statement as well. He says that today, unprovoked, Deputy Chief Justice Zondo decided to propagate some political propaganda against me. In my absence, he and Pretoria's SC decided on what they have always sought to do: turn all the narratives against me into evidence. Was this probably an calculated move from the commission itself, considering that the former president has been arguing that he believes that there is an agenda against him by the State Capture Commission of Inquiry?
I am sure that the commission did think about this in advance and work out its response, because Jacob Zuma had already made it clear he wasn't coming. So yes, I'm sure they worked out and thought about it. I just want to say that for Jacob Zuma to complain that this is happening in his absence when he's the one who refused to turn up is very rich. Secondly, there's been a lot of talk of unprecedented in this thing. Actually, nothing that's happened has been unprecedented. The only unprecedented step has been the direct appeal by the Commission to the Constitutional Court for a ruling, which is unusual, but not completely unprecedented. A Commission hasn't had to do it before, but a Commission hasn't had such a recalcitrant witness before. So what's happened is that the Constitutional Court has confirmed the normal law that applies to all citizens, which that even if an appeal is pending against a refusal to recuse, the case carries on. The Constitutional Court has confirmed that. It has spelled out what that means for the parties to this case, which were Jacob Zuma and the Commission. So there's no targeting one person. He was just the respondent in the case. And then, having done so, and because Jacob Zuma has now defied the order of the Constitutional Court, the other party to that case, the applicant, can apply for a finding by the Constitutional Court that Jacob Zuma is in contempt of court. All of it is perfectly normal. What is unprecedented is that we should have to go there to get a former president to actually comply with his constitutional obligations.
Okay. Bafana, I just quickly want to hear your take on the former president and the argument that you made earlier on as well about the recusal of the Deputy Chief Justice, in that the application is made to the North Gauteng High Court. And in this statement, the former president also speaks about the judge president of the North Gauteng High Court and how unfair he was, even accusing him of flip-flopping, but he's going to the same court.
Was that to me, Aldrin?
That's to Bafana. Bafana?
Okay.
Yes, Aldrin. I think we're speaking about a man here who believes that the judicial system in the country can still be sensible regardless of this political charged environment. So in other words, he says, I want to go there and check if these practices are being implemented towards me only.
Hi, Bafana? Oh, that
or
line.
It's the normal practice within the system. However, we are speaking about wherein he believes that there is no fairness in the judicial processes in this country because due processes were not followed within the legal framework itself. Because as you heard even today, when the Deputy Chief Justice was speaking, he said they would like to have him arrested and on top of that sent to jail, meaning that the option of a fine or any other avenues that are available to him are not necessarily what they are looking out for, but they want him to be sent straight to prison, which means that they are actually hell-bent in making sure that this revolutionary of our country, in the name of President Jacob Zuma, is seen behind bars, because the narrative continues, as we know that these are politically motivated maneuvers.
Okay, let's quickly
May
hear
I
from the
respond
son
to that,
of...
Aldrin?
We'll respond to that just now, Dr. Powell. Let me just quickly speak to Edward Zuma, the son of former President Jacob Zuma, who joins us on the line. Edward, good evening and welcome to the show. Your father just issued a statement. Where does your father stand in terms of the judicial system itself? Does he still have confidence in the judicial system?
Evening to your viewers, Aldrin, and let me just make it very clear. It's not that we do not have confidence in our judiciary, but we are doubting their impartiality as a judiciary of this country. The way they've been behaving and the way they've been acting, has given us many reasons to doubt them. However, we want to maintain what the former president has said, that he does not want to further cooperate with them because clearly they've been politicized. We know that there are those files that are closed, that we do not know why they are closed. Only God knows why. When these files are open.
Are you speaking about the CR17 bank statements there?
Exactly.
Okay.
Why are those files being classified and closed? If the current president claims to be a person of good governance, why isn't he accepting and agreeing to say, open these files, let me show you who is it that was dealing with my campaign? Then we will then know. Such things. Moreover, there are many more things other than what I'm just raising.
Okay.
That raising, eyebrows to us.
Okay, Edward, just quickly then, does this mean that your father is still continuing with the application for the recusal of DCJ Zondo? Because in the statement he says, I'm in the process of revising all matters I have before the court, except for the criminal matter, as it has become clear to me that I will never get justice before some of the current crop of judges in their quest to raise their hands to seek political acceptance at my expense. So is he still continuing with that application?
As a law-abiding citizen that former President Jacob Zuma is, he is going to abide by that, and he is respecting the law. But people must understand one thing. Respecting the law does not therefore necessarily mean that you must accept everything that you are fed by...
Okay, but Edward, I want to understand, is he still continuing with the application or not?
We definitely are continuing with the application.
Okay, thank you so much for that clarity. We just need to go to a quick ad break. When we come back, we continue with the conversation here on SABC 3 as well as the SABC News channel. And welcome back to Unfiltered. Ongama, let me just quickly give you the last remarks as we conclude this part of the conversation, as we say goodbye to our SABC 3 viewers. The former president also saying in his statement, I protest against our black, red and green robes dressing up some individuals that have long betrayed the Constitution and their oath of office.
Aldrin, we are allowed as social science researchers to observe a pattern of behavior over time and make a conclusion or inferences about that. If you look at the behavior of President Zuma since it became since the recommendation, the release of state of capture report, in fact, in the process, he refused to answer questions to Madonsela over a period of months, and then claimed to not have been given a chance to participate in the process. He opposed the idea of a commission of inquiry. He opposed the idea of the Chief Justice, appointing somebody recommending somebody to preside over the commission. And when it started, he refused to acknowledge irrationally so, that he had been implicated by the many witnesses that have spoken, and technically doing that so that he doesn't get to be compelled to come to the Commission of Inquiry. When he came, he kept threatening that he was going to release information about people's shenanigans, and that was supposedly aimed at making sure that this process is stopped politically.
Okay.
So what is happening here is a president who feels that judicial processes are subject to their political objectives.
Okay,
to
unfortunately,
the
Ongama,
political
we have to
objectives
say
of the
goodbye
political
to our SABC3 viewers. Thank you so much for watching Unfiltered on SABC3. But remember that the conversation continues on the SABC News channel 404. And we say goodbye to Ongama Mtimka as well. We continue the conversation, though, with Dr. Kathy Powell, as well as Edward Zuma, as well as Bafana from the MKMVA Ekurhuleni region. Okay, and welcome back to Unfiltered. We continue the conversation looking into the developments around former President Jacob Zuma's non-appearance before the State Capture Commission of Inquiry, and he's also now released a statement as to why he won't be appearing before the State Capture Commission of Inquiry. Dr. Powell, you wanted to respond to a point that was made earlier on by Bafana.
Yes, let me try and pick up on a couple of main points made previously by Bafana and also now by Edward Zuma. First of all, the different treatment and the right of people to remain silent. The commissioner and a judge in a high court has the discretion to decide how hard to push. I agree that somebody like Dudu Myeni should have been forced to speak. The rules of the Commissions Act say that she cannot remain silent. She cannot refuse to answer a question. The Constitutional Court has now confirmed there is a particular way that she can not incriminate herself, but she has to explain why the question could incriminate her. So I agree, she should have been made to answer the question, but it's in the chair's discretion to decide which battles he's going to pick. Now, the reason he has to pick the battles with Jacob Zuma is that, unfortunately, it was on Jacob Zuma's watch as president that all of these terrible acts of alleged corruption occurred. And we have evidence. We have 40 witnesses implicating him in interfering with the running of state organs so that particular people were benefited. Now, Dudu Myeni simply is not as important as Jacob Zuma when it comes to these particular facts that have to be unpicked.
What about
this is now being called a politicization?
Sorry, Kathy. What about?
Can I come?
Just give me a second there, Bafana. Just give me a second there. Kathy, what about just give me a second there, Bafana. Let me just raise this point though with Kathy.
An important point.
What about the former Minister of Finance, Pravin Gordhan, who appeared before the State Capture Commission of Inquiry? And I remember a moment when he was asked by the evidence leader, who are the people who are part of state capture within cabinet? And his response was that it is for you to go and find out. What do you make of that? Because he didn't get the same push as some of these people who come to the witness box as if they are implicated in state capture or are there as witnesses who are accused.
I think we must remember that not all the people whom the public might consider the goodies have got away scot-free with testifying before the commission. Nene had to resign his position as Minister of Finance when he revealed before the Commission that he'd met the Guptas and not disclosed that before. Faki Mentor had some problems when contradictions were pointed out. So it's not as if they were treated as though they were somehow made of glass and nothing must happen to them. I do find that statement of Pravin Gordhan's odd. I would have pushed. But the point I'm trying to make is it's the people who know the most and who've been implicated the most that have the most to explain. There's nothing politicized about it. Okay. It is natural that the president is going to be the one who has to explain what was happening. Okay, let's just quickly go to an ad break. Bafana, when we come back, you can respond to Dr. Kathy. We're going to take a quick break. Remember that we're taking your tweets as well. Use the hashtag SABC Unfiltered. We're asking you this evening, do you think that the possible arrest
or former President Jacob Zuma could lead this country into instability. Okay, and welcome back to Unfiltered with me, Aldrin Simpier. Let's look at some of the tweets that you have sent through, and then we will try to get Bafana back on the line. Unfortunately, we seem to have lost him on the line. So remember that you can use the hashtag SABC Unfiltered. Send us through those tweets as well as your comments and questions that you may have for the panelists who are joining us this evening. Let's quickly have those tweets on the screen, see what we have so far. Venatius says that I don't think so. Zuma is a person and should be treated as any other individual, whether rich or poor. In South Africa, equality before the law, the rule of law must take its place. Mutumbi says, not at all. In fact, the opposite is true. South Africa will gain respect and stability if the law is followed to the letter, regardless of which individual has fallen foul of it. And Muhlwana says, but not necessary. He is old, that man. We as a country rather invest our energy in tightening laws that will make it difficult for anyone to repeat what he is alleged to have committed. And Malise says we can't afford to have special person who can't be arrested. He is going to be arrested, and anyone trying to create instability will have the army to deal with. No parallel state in one country, otherwise we're going to regret it later when rebels arouse amongst us. Okay, and we understand that Bafana is back. Bafana, you wanted to respond to Dr. Powell?
Yes. Can I be allowed to start with Ongama, even though he has left?
Okay.
He says MK is a paramilitary force. Let us correct him and educate him that this is a revolutionary army of the people of South Africa that fought for the freedom that we are enjoying today. Number two, he says they are allowed as sociologists or whatever to can observe behavior over time. Can we also mention the fact that observations are either subjective or objective? And in this case, we believe that there is a lot of subjectivity when it comes to Jacob Zuma. Dr. Powell, interestingly enough, she says President Jacob Zuma is more important than Dudumieni. I think you must go and check your constitution, doctor, because we are all equal before the law. There is no law for Dudumieni, there is no law for Jacob Zuma. And this actually confirms the very narrative that we are talking about, that your interest is actually particularly for former President Jacob Zuma. That is why you are able to make an inference to say President Jacob Zuma is more important than Dudumieni. How are they treated differently? Because they are all equal before the law as per our constitution.
Okay, Kathy, you want to respond to that? Sure.
Yes, a couple of things. It's very interesting to see both sides keep insisting on equality before the law and the rule of law, as though that's what both sides are upholding. I'm trying to point out that what the Commission is doing is investigating state capture. And for that purpose, there's certain facts it's got to find out, there's certain allegations it has to follow up and uncover, and there's certain contradictions it has to unpick. That is where one witness ends up being more important than another witness, because one witness knows more about the subject matter before the Commission than another witness. So I fully agree that Jacob Zuma as a human being is not more important than Dudumieni. He's also not more important than all the people who've been arrested for contempt of court in the past and taken to prison.
Can I follow up? Can I follow up, Doctor? Can I follow up?
Okay, Bafana,
I just want to finish on another point that you said.
Allow Kathy to finish up, and then we're going to come to you, Bafana. I just need to go to Edward as well. Kathy, quickly.
But I need to follow up on this particular point.
Let's allow Kathy to quickly wrap up a point, Bafana, and then you'll respond, and then I'll go to Edward Zuma as well. Kathy?
My point is that the Commission is now trying to find a way to do its job, which is to find out the facts. And whether the most gaps are around Jacob Zuma, well, there are all these allegations which he refuses to address. So anything it can do to address those gaps is its current job. That's what makes Zuma the main witness. It also is the reason why the Commission would prefer, they're not insisting, but they would prefer that he be imprisoned instead of fined, because somebody else can pay the fine, but only he can go to prison. So what they're trying to do is to put out all the stops to gather the facts that they need from Jacob Zuma. He, as a law-abiding citizen, I noticed Edward Zuma claimed he was, is obliged by law to comply with the orders of the court. He's refusing to do so. Similarly, MKVA, whether you call them a revolutionary army or paramilitary force, cannot set itself up to, by force, prevent the arrest of Zuma, which is the process of the law.
Okay, Bafana, quickly.
Can I come in?
Sure, you can go ahead.
Unfinished.
If you watch on your screen as we speak, do you see MK people that are deployed in Nkandla armed? Or they are peacefully demonstrating and showing support to the former president as the father of the radical economic transformation in this country? And another point is that, you know, you've nicely escaped my question. However, it's fine. We'll deal with it in some other platform. The issue here is that if you follow the constitution of the country, President Jacob Zuma has got similar rights like me and you, wherein certain judicial processes must be exhausted before certain decisions are arrived at. But we can see here that there is a level of expediency. This must be concluded as quick as is possible, because the State Capture Commission shall not have reached its objective if President Jacob Zuma does not sit on that chair and he gets interrogated and humiliated and treated differently from any other witnesses. We've just made an example here on this show about the minister, former Minister of Finance, Pravin Gordhan. We've also made examples about Tutumieni, who remained silent in the same situation, but there was no appetite, there was no this efficiency that we see in this case of President Jacob Zuma. I'm happy that you confirmed it yourself, Dr. Powell, that Jacob Zuma is more important than Tutumieni, precisely because the narrative is the one that says he must be dealt with decisively, and this must be achieved through this commission. Now, his stance is actually frustrating everybody because he's exercising his democratic right also as a citizen. What more other avenues must he use other than the judiciary?
Okay, thank you so much for that, Bafana. Let me just quickly bring into the conversation Edward Zuma. Edward, in the statement that your father released earlier on, he also speaks about the establishment of the commission. He says that I stand by my reservations and that the commission was conceptualized as part of the campaign and sponsored multi-sectoral collaboration to remove me from office. Faced with this obvious unlawful appointment of the commission, the Chief Justice endorsed it. So does this mean that your father also takes the stance that he also then endorsed an unlawful conceptualization of a State Capture Commission of Inquiry, because he also called on South Africans to cooperate with this Commission of Inquiry?
Aldrin, I have a very great answer for you on that question. However, I think I need to clarify one thing that was that we've been told, which is just clear misleading the people of this country, and it will lead the people of South Africa into chaos. When we say, when you've touched on Jacob Zuma. Jacob Zuma is raising issues as a revolutionary. Now, if you want to arrest this revolutionary, so be it, arrest the revolutionary for believing in what he believes in. But you would have to kill us first before you arrest this revolutionary called Jacob Zuma, because we will not allow any particular state to do that. It is not because we are in defiance or disrespecting the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. We adhere and respect the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. But we need to understand and make it clear to South Africans that the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa was drawn and compiled while we were still in a rush to come to a particular conclusion so that we have a smooth transition of democratic transition. We understand that and we respect that. But there is one thing that we need to know. We know the commission, the Zondo commission, in as much as we've been raising that Zuma is the one that appointed this commission. But we need to understand that Zuma, on the onset, never wanted this commission to exist at all. Already, you have this clown who's the secretary of the commission, who was leading a march. You know, he was leading a march of Zuma must fall. Do you want us to believe in that person? That person, you are saying to me that I must believe in that in that person,
but
he will be very impartial.
Edward, you're not answering the question. The question is it fair also then to conclude that your father was party to an unlawful action in establishing the State Capture Commission of Inquiry and also calling on South Africans to cooperate with the Commission of Inquiry?
He was never party to that because he made it very clear, but because he is a law-abiding citizen, he had to respect the rules of the country. However, at some point, when the rules of the country go to this extreme, you would have to draw a line and say, no, I cannot go further than this.
Okay, then there is also the ANC-NEC statement and also the ANC resolution on the establishment of the commission and also cooperating with the commission. Is it fair then to conclude that your father is also in defiance of that resolution and also the NEC decision asking for cooperation from all South Africans?
Look, the NEC, you're speaking of individuals. These are individuals that sit in a particular meeting and discuss and take decisions. They are bound to make mistakes and make flaws. So they are not virgins. You know, they are bound to make mistakes. So we must accept the fact that they themselves might have made a mistake if ever they took that particular decision. So however, we are saying Mr. Zuma, former President Jacob Zuma, is not going to adhere to whatever decisions they want to take. If they want to arrest Mr. Zuma, they must just kill us.
Yeah, but what about the part of the ANC? That's the one that I'm speaking about now, that the ANC-NEC has called on participation of the Zondo Commission, has also expressed its confidence in the Zondo Commission and support of the Zondo Commission. Does this mean that your father is in defiance of an NEC resolution?
We're not in defiance of any resolution that was taken by the National Executive Committee. The National Executive Committee, we accept that. But what we are saying is allow us to further engage because we think that you are politicizing this thing and you are not thinking straight, which is what Zondo is not doing. Mm-hmm. Zondo was nearly on his tears when he addressed this thing. You could see that it is not Zondo that he was reading the judgment or decision. It was somebody else that was doing it. He was being forced.
Okay.
I mean, it was clear for everybody to see.
Okay, then the other question is that the ANC has said, and the president of the ANC has said, that the top six will try to engage your father and try to persuade him to appear before the commission and also respect the law. Have they done that? Have you heard of any call between the ANC top six members and your father?
Well, with due respect to that, I should think they would want to do that and engage with the former president through his legal team. And I've not heard about it. And all I could say to them, and all I can say to them is, good luck to that. I do not think it will pass because we've taken our position and we maintain our position. We're not going to change our position. Zuma is not going to appear in that commission until such time that clown Zondo is out of there.
Okay, let me just quickly get closing remarks. Let's start with you, Kathy. Closing remarks, just listening into what Edward Zuma had to say there as well.
2 points. Firstly, I think the Zuma supporters need to make up their minds. Bafana was saying that there's no proof that the MKVA group around Nkandla are there for anything but peaceful protests. And he was followed by Edward Zuma saying, you're going to have to kill us first if you want to arrest Jacob Zuma. So there's definitely some tension in what the strategy is there. If the claim is that you do have to kill anybody to actually make a lawful arrest, then you are saying you will not abide by the law. Secondly, there's a lot of doublespeak in justification and defense of Zuma. There's this constant refrain, he just wants to be treated as a normal citizen. Well, I'm afraid normal citizens do not decide by themselves whether a proceeding can go ahead if the recusal decision is on appeal. They can't. Okay. Normal decisions don't decide who gets to sit in judgment over a commission. Normal citizens don't override the constitutional court. They don't not even bother to turn up and make an argument and then dismiss the constitutional court as politically motivated. Okay. That's not normal. That's claiming special rights.
Okay,
I think it is time for equality before the law and that Jacob Zuma gets treated like a normal citizen.
Okay, quickly, Bafana, your closing remarks?
My closing remarks are that President Jacob Zuma must be treated fairly. And I think that the constitutional decision was unprecedented and he must be given a fair hearing. And we must make sure that there is also in a political space a transformation of the judiciary, because some of the elements in this judiciary system have proven beyond reasonable doubt that they still want to suppress the fellow revolutionaries in this country, and we shall not tire until we reach our economic freedom in our lifetime.
But you're saying no violence, right? Bafana? Bafana, no violence in trying to defend the former president?
Definitely not. It is not the policy of MKMVA or the ANC to use violence. We are peaceful people. We recognize the democratic principles of this country. And by saying so, we don't mean that we shall shut our mouth when there is any form of unfair treatment that is done to any citizen of this country.
Thank you so much for that, Bafana. Let's just quickly read some of the tweets that we've received so far. Using the hashtag SABC Unfiltered and the question that we posed earlier on as well. The former president must be punished. A legal action must be taken against him, or else the State Capture Commission will lose its credibility. That is from Tumelo. And Luamonto says there will never be instability in South Africa. Mapate and the team are just justifying their continued stomach filling. They speak for their stomachs, nothing else. Zuma doesn't see himself as a citizen of South Africa, but sees himself as the king or a king of South Africa and above the law. Goodman says instability will happen only inside the ANC, but as for the country, we support the work of the commission. Zuma can be arrested. Those who say they will defend him are joking. There's nothing they can do. They think we will be scared. And the last one is from Prince, who says, not at all. If anything, his continued defiance of the law with impunity would lead to instability, because everyone would think that they can defy the laws seeing that he did. His arrest would send a stern warning to anyone envying his defiant stunt. The laws should take its course. We've come to the end of the program. Thank you so much for choosing Unfiltered this evening. From me and the team, enjoy the rest of your evening. Goodbye.